I have to say, Madoka Magica continues to find new ways to be thrilling and creepy without the need of bloodshed and gore. This episode is really setting up Nanami to have some form of deep and dark secret. I mean, we can tell when she's looking in the mirror, she is scared of herself. And I'm quite curious to see, are they going to go with the direction of basically, because as we can see, most of these magical girls are pretty oblivious to how cursed they truly are after making a wish and being granted it, because we know what those soul gems represent. We know what they truly are and what the Kyubey will do to you, all for a cost of a wish. So I'm curious if what her secret is and what this seemingly demons inside of her are, is maybe she lost her entire boarding house before because of just simple death and things like that, maybe oblivious to just how cursed they truly are, or is it going to go in a more new direction, something similar to as we've seen with Tamaki and how she's transformed? Is there something that's happened similar to her where she was the cause of the death of her friends and things like that? There's definitely a couple of directions that they can take it, and even if they go in either one of those, there's a ton of possibilities to do something so creative with it. But it's definitely clear after this week's episode that there's a reason why Nanami has been so hard of pushing away, being a little more cold and blunt, and her openness and how she's grown accustomed to these new friends, and how she's still so scared to call them friends, but more of just people that she lives with. I don't know where the final two episodes want to go, as it seems like we're going into something crazy. It really, really does. The idea that we're going to a memory museum that can basically store or get any memory, and the idea that Tamaki has already had a recruitment offer to join the Wings of Meg is like, there's a lot that can happen here. On one hand, you could say if she joins in, maybe she won't just get like, a needle to the neck. She'll already drink the Kool-Aid and be like, oh yeah, they are the greatest. Maybe she'll join just so she can get the information, then try to leave, and then leaving will probably be harder than anticipated, because once you join a cult, there is no turning back, most likely. I definitely think this episode, it just had a level of mystery while creeping in some slice of life and cute moments to kind of balance it all out. I know there's definitely some people who watch a Madoka project and want to see the craziest of crazy, but the reason I've loved this new project is that it's had moments to really flesh out the characters, because they're not constantly fearing that they're magical girls. They're oblivious to a lot of the shortcomings that they have now in their life, but also they have done a pretty solid job because of their teamwork to escape any and all witches and things like that. And in doing so, we're getting something that just feels really character driven. So if we get that second season, which it kind of still seems like we are, I kind of feel like the reason that we originally had that confirmation that it was going to be 26 episodes, kind of have the assumption that it's going to be a split core, or we're just going to get a second season next year. It just definitely feels like they were designing it originally for 26, but then realized production needed a bit more time. But then again, maybe they only originally planned 13. It was just a couple of people online spreading rumors. It happens all the time. But it feels to me, just with the pacing and the way they're going with this story, the fact that they're not rushing into the absolute craziness, it almost feels like they want to take it a bit slower, let things flesh out. And I know there's some game players who say there has been some things that have been rushed, but as an anime original, it feels like a good medium pace where there's definitely some high moments, some exhilarating octane moments where you're just like, holy shit, that's incredible. But you can look at this episode in particular. We set up for an action scene, but then we didn't see an action scene. For some, that may be an issue, but the fact that it allowed for more character dialogue, for me, that wasn't an issue in the slightest. Sure, if I never saw action in new projects, sure, maybe that would be a bit of a bummer, but the fact that it has time to slow things down and have this conflict where characters have their internal demons, and there's a lot of characters in the show, and the ones that get time to actually speak and get a name and actually get a personality, it feels like there's a lot we don't know. And the fact that we're slowly starting within our main cast, but then with the supporting cast, there's a lot being explored, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to do, because Nanami, I don't think, is going to stab these characters in their heart. No, she's definitely a tortured soul for sure, but it's a matter of, did she cause the pain and the death of probably her previous friends and family, or was it something that they all just woke up one day to realize how cursed they were, and that's why she's been so reluctant to kind of call other people their friend, because, well, she realizes that they're all going to die sooner rather than later. There's a lot of ways to take her character arc, but the fact that she's being so cold and blunt, and how when she sees her long forgotten friend chilling and talking to someone like Tamaki, it's understandable why she's afraid, because there's clearly a lot we don't know about their relationship and how it just feels like, once again, probably for her, everything that she's starting to care for is about to be ripped away, and she just doesn't know what to do. Should she chase after them or just let them be fools by themselves? Like, there's just so many conflicting feelings. Even knowing the original project, it doesn't give you a guaranteed understanding of what's happening, because this city completely bends and breaks at multiple points the rules and guidelines that the show is known for. And because of that, it still has a level of uncertainty, and that level of uncertainty is something that's been through every episode of Madoka, from the original to the sequel movie to this new project, and that's what makes it so interesting, is that have this feeling of like you want to follow the rumor, you want to follow the mystery and the witch, because it's intoxicating, it's creepy, but it's also this strange, beautiful imagery, but at the same time, you know, take one wrong step and you're gonna lose your head. And that's what's really interesting. I mean, this episode was a slower burn style, but I mean, based on how it ends, based on the fact that she's already been recruited with Tamaki to this cult, there's a lot of possibilities for insanity with episodes 12 and 13 going forward, and I don't know exactly what I want to see next week. I mean, of course I want to see her locate her sister, but do I think we're going to see that in this season? No. It would definitely be more of a season 2 content guideline in my honest opinion, but still, why did they want to meet? Why is it that so few people knew about this memory museum? And what is the purpose of luring her there? Is it so they can alter her memories, get her to join the cult, or what's going to happen? And the fact that they still are teasing that small Kyubey, like, that small Kyubey has to be related to her sister in some way. Like, her sister got a real shitty end of the stick and she became a Kyubey, which would honestly make sense of why she's always been hanging around with her. Or that little bastard's gonna drag her into something that's gonna be horrible and just completely menacing. I don't know, but clearly is something important, because it only pops up when she's around and everyone takes notice, but it feels like that's going to be a very relevant plot point going forward, which honestly is that a shocker. I mean, Madoka doesn't introduce things just to be disposable, or if you're going to reintroduce it at multiple points, it's clearly not just something for visual flair, it's something related to the plot. And that has me really excited, because all the characters, I guess besides Nanami, are quite oblivious. They don't truly know how shitty of a deal they have. If you compare where we're at this anime compared to the original, it's a very different contrast to the cast and how much despair they were feeling. But that obliviousness has definitely allowed us to explore this city with almost like these goggles on, these blinders, to not realize that the training wheels have been off for a long time, and it's just going to take one bump and you're going to lose your life. And I hope it doesn't happen, but at the same time, you know, there's got to be a point where bad things are going to happen. And the fact that someone like Tamaki was able to basically interrogate her enemies, I mean, from her enemy's point of view, she thought it was interrogation, really from her point of view, it was just, I want answers. I just don't know where I want the cast to go, and that's a really fun feeling, because having this cult that we thought was a cult, evil, horrible people, and then we see Mami join it. Mami is someone who is one of the most powerful magical girls in this series. At the same time, she's someone who's experienced a lot of loss. She knows the truth. So for her to join the cult, to me, it most likely means that we don't know everything about it, and maybe it's not as clearly as evil as we once thought. So maybe Tamaki joining wouldn't be the end of the world, but at the same time, because there's so much uncertainty, you don't want to make a rash decision. You don't want to make the wrong decision, because once you join something, it's very hard to escape from it, as seen by the wish that they all made that has now trapped them into an endless hell that they might think is paradise until they realize it definitely isn't. This episode had some very gorgeous visuals. I definitely love the rumors and how they explored the visuals of that. It's always just cool to see how they explored, and just, it looks so cute, looks so adorable, and then you're just like, it's also so creepy. And I definitely love the use of music, especially when they were basically in the museum kind of running up to it. There was some creepiness to it, but also it lured you in, which that entire anime has done a great job. It's creepy, but it still lures you in, and it's understandable why so many of these girls get trapped in basically Kyubey hell of not being able to escape and being a servant to this little bastard. One of the more fun feelings, though, about this show is that back when the original anime was airing, I picked my favorite character, then my favorite character got killed, so then I picked a different character, and then that character got killed. It kind of felt like that was how my feelings were. Where with this, because the characters aren't just constantly dying or suffering, I'm able to appreciate the cast as a whole. Like, honestly, this entire boarding house, I enjoy at a personality level, and when they're badass, I like watching them, and when they're having the time to shine on a more personal note, I'm really appreciating that rather than it making me feel like I have to pick my favorite character, it's like, no, you are supposed to appreciate the entire cast, and that's something I haven't felt with this project before, and that's why I'm really enjoying it for multiple reasons. But the fact that I love the cast as a whole and how alive the city feels, it definitely is a big bonus in the series' favor. I just continue to enjoy this project, this side story, and how I wish it could just continue to go on, but if we have to wait for another season, be it a year or 2 years, a few months, whatever it may be, I'm more than happy to wait, because this project has been great. It's different, it's refreshing, has new ideas, and while that may not be everyone's cup of tea who enjoyed the original, for me it definitely is continuing to keep my interest week by week. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. Theories and speculations on where it may go for anime originals, whatever you feel, and let me know. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new around here. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.